Hello, my name is Connor and I'm going to be doing an Econ presentation using Hoi 4 to demonstrate why Amazon may or may not do as well in the future and how they are doing now. To represent this in this game, there is something called military factories and there's something called civilian factories. Civilian factories represent your civilian economy that produces like resource tungsten artillery, or not artillery, tungsten steel and say rubber. What this represents from the real world for our presentation is going to be things like Fred Meyer's or going to your thriftway or food markets, whereas military economy is going to be Amazon or going online. Playing as Germany, you are going to want to go to war, but war represents COVID. COVID comes in, it causes you to switch to a online economy because people are required to stay home or mask, they don't want to go out, or most do, but they have to stay home because of the virus, so they switch to things like online Amazon. So Amazon starts doing really well in this short-term effect because the demand is great. And when you order online, the marginal cost isn't too that much. You click a button online, you wait for it to come to your door, you don't have to waste gas. That's the marginal cost. Marginal benefit is you can just sit there, don't have to do anything. Stuff comes back. The only real cost there is waiting for your supplies to show up and less social time. In this situation, switching to a military economy is a little different, but when you switch to military, you're able to supply your troops, get more military, fight better wars. That's your marginal benefit. The cost is less resources being produced because you have less factories. If you end up switching your factories from civilian to military, less civilian factories you have, in the long run, you're going to run out of supplies being able to produce for the amount of military factories you are doing to equip your troops. So you have to keep a fine balance. Where nowadays, because if you're switching to online, Amazon's going to do really well in the short term, but other stores like Fred Meyer's and stuff that are all like buying in person are going to not do as well, or they're going to, what a lot of them are doing is start switching to online things like ordering. You can order your stuff through online means. When they go online, they enter the firm. This causes the general marginal revenue for Amazon to decrease as others are entering the market. More people that are in the market with more online options, the less Amazon's going to make. And when COVID restrictions start lifting up, or in this case the war in them, you're going to want to switch back to your civilian factories. Whereas for nowadays, when people start going back in person, it causes Amazon to be less popular, which means in the long run, Amazon might start to drop in their revenue. Or people realize that the marginal benefit outweighs the marginal cost of going to the store. And benefit just gets to sit at home. So Amazon might continue to still skyrocket and do really well because people still, when stuff opens back up, are like, we can just order all of our stuff online so we don't have to go buy. We just order it through Amazon. So Amazon still does well. That is a good example of how the law of diminishing return may or may not come into effect, where the marginal cost, in this case, it's the cost of losing factories, whereas the benefit, gaining military factories to build things, you lose civilian factories. So at a certain time, if you produce too many military factories, your marginal benefit from those factories does not weigh out the cost, which is losing civilian factories to produce your resources. This is why I think in the future there's going to be two options. Amazon's going to continue to do well as people realize the marginal benefit still outweighs the marginal cost, or people are going to realize that social life and other things and going out in public is a higher marginal benefit than the cost. That would be an outside source or a effect on the market based on people's opinions, because people prefer going out and socializing more than ordering online. Or there'll be some people that prefer staying in dome. It all depends on what people's view is at the time and what they view is a higher marginal benefit versus their marginal cost for going online or not going online. In this case, staying heavily militarized as Germany will be a huge, and I would want to do that because I need to take over places. I'll keep just enough factories to maintain the resources, so having a lot of military factories will still be a marginal benefit. I'll be able to balance it out, and the more places I take, the more land I collect. That is another example of outside factors. Take over Poland, I get more resources, I get their factories. That decides what demand is required for military factories versus civilian factories. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. It is on a different style than I imagine most people have seen. It is using a video game to explain it, but this is how I've tied in my economics class to my video game to really help me do well in the game, as well as just better understand things in the world. Thank you for listening to my presentation on why Amazon's doing well and comparing that to Germany in World War II on a game. Thank you.